Everybody stand in my path. They say that I can't do it, man. I take it and laugh. The motivation come from the naysayers, and me and you are nothing alike, man. I was made great. I'm just trying to be great. If you don't like it, you can get out my way. And I don't care what you say. Just let me be great. Big dreams.
TV, the coach's corner.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, man?
What's happening? What's happening, man? Hey,
what we got in the building, man?
Man, I'm going ahead and announce these fellas, man. We got Kenny Wigfall. Everybody know him as One Wig in the city.
One Wig.
All right. And we also got Tim Powell, Mr. What? Tim West.
Tim West, Mr. Receipt Money.
Hey. So we got these boys in the building, man, and we got a lot of subjects. You know, obviously you got me, Dante, and also my man Johnson over here. We about to pick these boys' brains about what went on the last weekend. And
down in Naples, you talking about?
Yeah. Oh, here we go. We already gonna start.
We took the stinger out of somebody, but we couldn't take the stinger out of other.
But this ain't what we trying to do right now. This ain't what we trying to do.
We took the stinger.
Listen up. So hey, Big Dream Sports right now.
Go ahead and get
like we always got to calm everyone down. We always got to slow everybody down because we can get all that in the end.
Hey, down in Naples,
in the middle of this episode.
Down in Naples, there was no lightning either. There was no lightning. You know, it was raining, but there was no light.
They cracking on Lehigh.
How you love that?
Oh, man. The man said he wasn't going to say nothing about no Naples.
Well, we're going to get into right now real quick. We got two guys in here that is first time on the show. We want to find out a little bit more about both of the coaches, you know, where you coached, and also, you know, a little bit of philosophy, a little bit about you, your background. So we'll start from the left. We'll start with One Wig himself. And we'll go back to Mr. Tim West.
Well, what you want first? Where I started, or where I'm in the coaching?
Yeah, man, it's on you.
Well, everybody know me. It's synonymous with a little team we had back here called the Fort Myers Cobras. It was like the first semi-pro team we had here. You know, after I graduated Cypress Lake, I went off into the Navy, played a little ball there, and I came back here and just got my groove on here. So, the late great Tommy Bowder, who was a great guy and a mentor to me, started grooming me to coach. And what got me really started was he let me call the whole plays all year from quarterback, because I played quarterback for the team. And he said he knew I always was a player coach and I always was a student of the game. After that, it just propelled me to get off into high schools, and I even coached Mr. Tim himself.
Okay.
Great player.
All right. So jumping in.
Cobras.
Hey, you know what? Ain't gonna talk about the Cobras, man. The Cobras right up there with the Cool Cats. We'll get into that a little later. If you're from Fort Myers, you know what the Cool Cats and they about the Cobras.
I was gonna ask you if Johnny Watlow played on that team.
Johnny Watlow probably talked about the team a lot more than he played on the team.
Watlow played.
Oh man.
I don't know why they hating on my boy Watlow. My boy was
he wasn't the water boy.
Hey, my boy was the most splickest running back.
All right, hey, let's get into the dog. Let Tim kind of give his background, where he came from, and what he doing right now with the youth.
Well, first off, I'm from the area. I went to North Fort Myers High School. As you can see, you know the greatest high school in all of Lee County and all of Southwest Florida. Yes, the greatest.
Oh man.
But anyways, I played
one
there,
Hall of Famer, not the greatest.
You know, I was an all-conference athlete there. I went off to Bethune-Cookman College. Things didn't too much.
Hell, Wildcat. I didn't know that, boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, things didn't work out too well there, so I came back home. But that's where I met this guy. I played a little semi-pro. I also played a little arena football. And in recent years, you know, my son just turned 6 years old, so I've been joining the coaching staff out there at Cypress Lake Hornets. You know, the 6U. You know, the baddest 6U team all in Fort Myers.
Y'all one of the last ones going up the road, ain't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
All right. Well, you know what, Johnson? You know, since we got a little bit of a rivalry going on, we tried to already establish this with the Stingrays and Cypress Lake. I just want to ask these fellas just to start off. I mean, who is the best program in unlimited ball right now?
I'm gonna let him answer that first.
As far as what aspect?
hey, as far as the two coaches we got right now, I mean,
I gotta say the Stingrays myself. I meant because being that we with the Police Athletic League, everything A-OK. You know what I'm saying? But talent wise, I would like to say we right up there amongst the best. Now, last week everybody has bad days, you know, but pound per pound, I think our 14U is probably one of the best in the nation.
I already see
I can
that.
give them that.
Oh,
I can give them
our
that
14
on that what he just mentioned.
We got about 4 or 5 guys on my team that could probably go D1.
You know, we kind of talked about that and we touched on that in earlier episodes. And I want to ask this question before we get into a couple of games we like to play, a little bit of information. I want to know what is your take? And it looks like we've had a lot of unlimited coaches on here, more than Pop Warner coaches.
Yeah.
I want to know what's your take on how you would pitch why unlimited instead of Pop Warner or vice versa.
We need more Pop Warner coaches. Hey, Pop Warner coaches, man, get your
Hey, y'all got to vote up, man. Come and check us out. We got
first off, Pop Warner coaches literally they need to get their weight up. So
y'all heard that out there? Hey, y'all heard that, man.
Wait up. But first and foremost, I'm gonna say I like unlimited simply because it's football. Football is football. There's no weight limit on football. You know, you subjecting these kids, you know, to play this level or that level at certain ages because of their weight. You know, it shouldn't be no 10-year-old kid playing seniors because he's overweight. He should be playing with his age group. If you feel that he's too big to play with your kid, well, your kid need to grow.
Right.
Or don't let him play football.
Okay.
It's just that simple. You know, that's how I feel. My son's 6. It's his first year playing, and we got kids on the team 80 and 90 pounds. He only like 40-some pounds. But, I mean, this football, and this is what you're playing. You're either going to play or you ain't.
Gotcha.
You know,
and
so that's
you
how
know,
I
he
feel.
pretty much covered all bases because I always take that myself because my take from Pop Warner is I always hated seeing the kid that was always overweight just running, and could never make weight. Yeah. And pretty much all year he couldn't do nothing but run and not play games. So with the unlimited, he can come play. And like what he touched on, when they get in high school, ain't no weight limit. When they get in college, ain't no weight limit. And definitely when they get in pros, ain't no weight limit. If they make it that far, you know, if you can play, you can play. It don't matter how big you are.
I got you.
But hold on, man. We skipped the subject. You ain't let me say why I think Cypress the best organization.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You was kind of quiet.
You know,
and then I thought you let him win this. You know, we ain't real good at conversation. All right, well, I mean, go ahead. I mean,
all right. We got 4 teams, right? 3 made it to the championship, 2 won. I mean, numbers don't lie, so I guess that speaks for itself, right?
Okay, I understand. I mean, so basically winning, he's saying they winning. Y'all the best.
We have a tradition of winning. I mean, if you look at
we're a first-year organization.
If you look at
I take for a first-year organization, we have 5. All our levels make the playoffs. So you know, sports having a first-year organization, trying to get kids together, trying to get parents to even buy in. I think that was admirable. Shout out to Chris Morant and Officer Campbell for doing that for us.
And you know, I want to kind of throw out there real quick. We got some people in the audience. I mean, we still got these free wings today. Y'all come and sit in on the show.
That's why he's so short. He just always wants
at the Soul Bowl Cafe, man. Hey, food so good make you want to what?
Slap your coach.
And
man, since we at the Soul Bowl, I mean, you guys talking about a lot of home cooking in Lee County. You know, shout out to the Gators 12U for putting in that work. Shout out to 14U Titans for putting in that work.
Okay.
Shout out to them. You know what I'm saying?
Are you
it's 239.
The 60 Titans, they did beat us.
All right, y'all finna lose a lot of viewers because we're gonna talk about Naples and everything. We also got some ladies in the back. We got Cape Youth over here hanging out with us tonight, and we also got I got a lady hanging out with us from North. So everybody wave, everybody say hey, you know. So
hey,
you know they represent.
She wanna She wanted some sweet
Cypress.
potato pie,
Okay,
all the
Cypress
sweet
in the
potato pie
building
people
also.
get
Hey, before we get into the weeds too much, let's play this game that I made up called Righteous versus Ratchet. And if if you tender-hearted and get offended real easy, you probably don't want.
Because we about to get real. We about to get real serious. And hey, it's no
Let's talk
punches
about
being held back. And we need people that are out there in Facebook world comment, interact with us, because we want to hear what you got to say also.
And you know what? There's not a right or wrong answer. It's just what it is.
Okay.
First one, gambling on the game.
And this,
Righteous or ratchet?
I personally think it's ratchet. And to get into just the reasoning why it's ratchet, just if everybody wants
Don't cop deuces.
No. And the reason why it's ratchet is because once you get the kid involved, I think we talked about this earlier, Johnson. Once you get the kid involved, then that is where it's a problem. Like, you got to understand, we can't control what the grown men do at the house when they talking about, oh, man, I got my little cousin junk team for a couple $100. We can't do nothing about that. But once it gets to where your teammate or your kid is, after 5 days of working hard, all he want to do is go so he can get $20 because he know his uncle got a bet. I think that's more of the problem than just people betting, because people don't gamble. I understand that, yeah. So I mean, what do you think?
I think that's not bad. I think because I got a nephew. If he gets straight A's, he's getting a reward. I think like incentive-based things like that, I don't have a problem with that. But if you straight betting on a Mighty Mites game and getting mad because you're losing money on it, that's ratchet.
All right. I mean, how do you feel about that, Wig? I mean.
Of course, you would have to say it's ratchet, but like you say, you can't do or go home with these people. And like when some of these parents are driving home to their kid, that when you get the ball, don't listen to Coach Wig.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of parents out there, and it's
just do what you do.
Hey, it's a lot of parents, but it's also coaches that are involved in it also. And my thing is, you can validate it and say, oh, maybe it's okay because of the competitive side of it, because everybody says we're going to play harder because I know I'm going to make $20 if I score every time or whatever. But on the back end, is that helping youth football at all?
No, trust me.
I mean, it has nothing to do with youth football. It has nothing to do with them kids, period.
But they betting on kids,
you
Tim.
What I'm saying? Okay, let's put it this way.
Yeah, but how could you base that or call that betting when you're rewarding him?
I mean that's a different aspect of
right,
it.
I got you. Okay,
that was a tricky question. You
including the kid into the bet. You may bet $200 on this, but you telling this kid, "Oh, go out there and play a little harder, so I can reward you from my gambling bet." You get what I'm saying? That's different. Now, if he go reach out to another grown man and be like, "Hey, we're gonna bet on this and that," don't include the kids. That's their business.
Right, and that's exactly what I was saying.
Now, what I think is ratchet is a coach betting on his team. Now, you can't tell these guys in the fan they can't bet on part one of high school, college, or pro.
Be out here like Pete Rose.
That's their business. They can bet on whatever they want to bet
on.
Now, when you got people in your organization betting on teams in your organization, that's when it becomes a problem.
I was going to bet.
But how do you stop?
Now that's a real deep problem when you get to the point where you're playing at, and we're going to touch on that. You're playing in Miami. Now, you know that all those cats in Miami betting, and you know that's what that's their whole focus of that whole game.
Yeah.
Does that not take away a little bit from you? Like, that doesn't take away a little bit, like, hey man, the integrity of the game, you coaching your butt off, and then you got to worry about the one guy screaming, oh, if you don't score because I got 7 points on the game. You get what I'm saying?
That's when the coaching changes too. They change the coaches. They're gonna play certain players to make sure they win. You get what I'm saying? Like, we have the sub in and not certain players. No matter what, they got to get their play. A coach who's out there gambling, man, listen, he ain't finna play them players. He gonna play who he want to play to solidify his victory.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So now kids ain't gonna get their playing time.
Right.
Hey, you out there gambling.
We're giving out the free meal. Make sure you call the Soul Bowl. Is 239. You see the number right there. I can't even see the number, but call right now and get your free meal right now.
I mean, we ain't had nobody call in forever. Can somebody? We got people in the audience. Y'all just play call. Just call, and then we'll just say,
man,
"Oh,
hey,
somebody
y'all,
won it."
Hey, I was
growth.
hey, talking about betting. I was going to bet Andrew a ghost pepper against the last week, but he got scared because he knew what time it was.
And but just to finish up on that subject about gambling, we can all agree that gambling on kids is wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
Regardless
No doubt.
of what it is. I mean, we understand that, and you can call it out, and you can say whatever. But once you get to the gambling part, we know it's wrong. I mean, so we still playing ratchet versus righteous, right? Yeah. I mean, what we got?
The next one is daddy ball, and I'm not talking about like you the daddy and your son is on the team. We talking about the daddy where your son is the star player, and not because he's the best, but because he's got the ball all the time.
Right. I mean,
is that righteous or ratchet?
I'm
gonna let Tim answer because I know that Cyber's got a lot of date dad.
You really stuck that one in there, huh? That's all right. Okay.
It's ratchet all across the board. I mean, because you're the coach and your son on the team don't mean your son's supposed to get the ball all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
but does it necessarily happen?
It happens all the time.
Exactly.
And it happens all the time. But you got to look at it this way, right? Once a father becomes a coach and he's in control of how many times his son touched the ball, what you think gonna happen?
He's
gonna give his son the ball, especially if he believe in his son more than anybody else.
Yeah.
So
and if
I think my son gonna get it. So he gonna give it to him, and his son may fail. But in his mind, this is my son. I'm gonna keep giving it to him as much as I want to, so he get it right.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Practice is a game.
But if he doing that, doesn't he lose his integrity as a coach?
Yeah,
because that ain't fair to the rest of the people.
I don't really think he cares about being a coach at that point in time. I think it's more of an involvement of what he's trying to do to develop his son. And I'm going to kind of disagree with.
But once you're aboard in an organization and see that shouldn't even be connected together.
But yeah. I'm going to actually say that if your son, and if you're coaching, and your son is one of the best players on this team, why would you get ridiculed for letting your son actually be the star? That's actually,
it's nothing wrong with that.
You know what I mean? Like,
we're not blind. We not like people ain't
blind. But that's some blind parents
when you the head coach and then your son is getting the ball every other play. I mean, like every play.
There's some blind,
that's what
there's some blind parents when there's only one cat that's really out there that can really ball, and you got 22 other ones.
And then sometimes
you got parents that don't agree with that.
Yeah, and then sometimes the other kids do get the ball, but they don't show up. But the coach son get the ball and he show up. So that's the person that get the ball to. But a lot of parents feel, all the kids should get the ball even amount of times. But we got to keep it here, right? Listen, if you have a playoff system and you are able to go to the championship, you are no longer playing just to be playing. Yeah. Well, go play 8-game ball, and then you got 8 games in the season over with. Once you got playoffs and championships in the way, it ain't about everybody getting the ball all the time. It's about we got to win.
This goes back to what I was saying in the last episode, and we were talking about how, in certain areas, they have just your season team, and then they have a travel team. They cut their rosters into a 20. Now, I bet you a lot of parents that are out there looking right now, if we say we're going to have 35 kids, you pay your money for 10 games, but we're going to make sure that we're going to cut this roster down by 10 to 25 to be competitive, those parents will lose their mind. And, it's not fair. My kid, he did all this work, he did all this. But the thing is, if you have kids that aren't at that level, they're getting the opportunity to play, they're getting the opportunity to learn. Say they're first-year kids that aren't that good at this time. What would that do? Would that break that kid's spirit down, or would it say, you know what, I want to be on a travel team next year? I mean, how do we? We
got a lot of verbal gymnastics going on right now. Why don't you just say Daddy Ball is righteous? It sounds like you want to say it's righteous.
I feel.
You sound like you want to say it's righteous. We're gonna go to Andrew in the crowd right there, man. We're gonna go in there. We're gonna cut.
How you doing? I'm everybody know me. I'm Andrew. I'm here with Jennifer, Dawn, and Blanca, and you guys have had kids that play football, and have you experienced daddy ball?
Oh yeah.
So what do you feel could help that situation?
My opinion. They trying to get.
Talk higher. Talk higher.
I gotta talk up.
You can't be cute on this, and you ain't.
My
ain't your
opinion,
voicemail.
I think that a head coach should not have a kid on the team.
There it is.
The head coach and someone that's not scared to voice his opinion. Because I see some head coaches that basically step down. I don't know. No, I'm not standing up. No. But, no, for real. I think if a head coach coaches, he needs to be a strong head coach, not to have his assistant coaches override him. His law is the law. And I think that would control a lot of daddy balls. But I think a head coach should not have a kid on the team. That's just my opinion.
How's the food, by the way?
I'm going to slap you. That's all.
So now we're going to go to Don for North Fort Myers. Hey, listen. And at Dunbar doing the thing.
Hi. What are we talking about? Daddy ball? Well, like Blanca said, if you're going to have, if you have a kid on the team and you're the head coach and it's an issue, then the president or the board needs to step up and, address the issue and not let it continue.
And you didn't have anything to eat, so you can't slap your coach. So, Jen, we're here, and you have dealt with 2 different organizations. Right now, you're at Cypress. You dealt with Lehigh. How do you feel about daddy ball?
I feel like daddy ball is difficult from a parent's point of view, but honestly, I feel that you're never going to get away from it. Honestly, we're all volunteers. Majority of everyone that's volunteering is volunteering because they have a child, either in that age group or they've moved up or they're playing below them.
True.
And they're all volunteering, so in a sense, they do get a little bit more. They do. They're willing to give more of their time. They're maybe more of their time day in and day out. A lot of parents aren't willing to do that. But I do feel that when you find a coach who has children or coaches, as parents, it's important to let them know that they're appreciated, that it's really hard to find coaches where daddy ball isn't prevalent all the time. But I think it's almost impossible to
and Drew, to get back to touch on based on what she's saying, I wasn't saying that this
Back to
travel
you, Dante.
team. Thank you, sir. This travel team was not. This travel team was not.
Hey, hold on, Dante. We got somebody on the phone that's calling in on Sobo. Got somebody.
No.
What you got
No.
to say? Who is this?
Is this the Price is Right? I want to win something.
So who is this? Kristen. Now let's go. What you got to say about daddy ball? Did you call in for the meal?
She can't.
She hungry.
You got this girl on TV. She trying to.
She wants some wine.
Oh, this is Coach Wig, youngest sister.
Okay.
He ain't gonna say that out
he
loud.
playing this, man. He trying to get the free
I
meals.
ain't playing nothing.
What we got?
Hey, what we got next, man? We playing Righteous versus Ratchet. Hey, you know what? I was out at the games, man. It looked like, some people were campaigning, last week, tight dresses, lots of ice on. It looked like Christian mingle, but like on the field.
No.
Hey, let's talk about that, man. Dating.
Ding,
Dating.
ding, ding.
The coach, the parents, because there were
Yeah,
some
the
people
brand
out there.
We know
they
it.
were campaigning.
And
Is that righteous or ratchet?
And everybody that's
righteous,
in
man.
here, that's at the organization.
Hey, that's what
Y'all
you agree. Oh,
See,
Get it when you
that's
get
why
it.
we should have had them in this.
Hey, listen.
I will be honest with y'all. We know in every organization that this is happening. You got a single mom, single dad out there coaching. He coming with his little Under Armour shirt on. You know what I'm saying? And he doing a couple push-ups before the practice. You know what I'm saying? But it's happening, But I still have to say, I have to disagree with y'all. Y'all
So-
said it's right. I think it's ratchet,
So
man.
you say it should be like,
But I mean, you don't use a youth platform to go out there and try to get her to go to Celsius tomorrow night.
I mean, listen, man.
I mean, that's not
There
what
you
you
go.
do.
If you meet somebody,
Because you
meet
live in
them,
St.
you meet
James
them,
City
man.
and can't see nobody, bro.
It don't matter where you meet the person at.
hey, righteous.
Hey, man.
I mean,
Hey,
Listen.
I don't
Can
go
you,
up there.
okay, listen.
Go for it.
In my behalf, like I said, it's hard to meet people. And mind you, I don't condone a lot of the stuff that go on out there, but like I say, where you gonna meet somebody at, in the club, on a dating website? I mean,
Sounds like we got a website idea right now. Datingcoaches.com.
I mean, it just
Hey, that's a good one.
I want to get paid.
Datingcoach.com. Okay.
We got
Man.
the wrong guys for this one.
I don't know.
What happened to going to church?
Yeah. I mean, you can meet them there too.
Those are the ones.
Yeah.
You can meet them
I
wherever
see
you
which
wanna
way
meet
it's
them
up.
at, man.
How you feel about that, Tim?
But I mean, I think it's righteous. I mean, listen here, you are meeting a person at a youth event. You care about your kid, they care about their kid. That's just like me, you meeting each other at the park.
There it
Both of
is.
y'all taking
Okay.
your kid somewhere.
Okay, I like
now,
that.
look, you see her, you feeling her, she feeling you. Y'all got something in
Ain't y'all
common.
supposed
Both
to
of
pay
y'all
attention
kids
to
play sports.
little jump
No,
number?
no,
y'all
hold
ain't
on.
paying
Let me get on a more serious
y'all
tip on
go
this.
take them to
Hold
work
on.
out together.
Let me get on. I'm finna really get serious with this one. Say for instance, see a lot of these kids need direction, and it's a lot of guys that may be single, and women that are single that need men in their life that can help straighten these young men out so we can be in these communities. So if they need to find somebody that's around an athletic form versus a club form or skating ring or something like that,
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I'm messing with y'all.
Why not?
I believe
man.
it.
He got you there.
Hey,
I mean, because
I believe
if
it.
I want,
It's
if her son
nothing- it's nothing
goofy
wrong with it
and
at
they
all.
needed, hey, Coach Wade turn him into a receiver or quarterback.
But then we get
Hey, he
then
was
we turn
against-
it, then we turn into
he
daddy
was-
ball.
Hey, he was against daddy ball, but he's all
There you
for
go.
stepdaddy
No,
ball.
no. Hey, now hold on, cause
Stepdaddy.
Mr. West could tell you I'm a pretty fair
Excuse
coach.
me,
I'm a
fellas.
fair coach.
Alfonso Bailey said, "Can we stay on topic, please?"
Leave Alfonso. Listen, Bailey boy. We on topic. I mean, we're talking about is it okay to bring your dating wants to a youth football?
I'm talking about campaigning. Yeah.
Basically, that's what it is. I mean,
Hey, the Naples guy came up with that one. We was here to talk football. I just had to answer the question.
That's it. That's it. We
know,
we go.
Wig Cheeseburger say you sound like Dr. Phil.
Hey, tell
Hey,
Cheese,
I-
man.
hey, tell him
we about to go right deep into a subject with him real quick. So we gonna get there. We gonna get there.
That
So
sound like Dr.
Ratchet
Phil.
versus Righteous. What we got next? John?
No, that's it, man.
Oh,
We
that's
need
it.
to go, hey.
That's it. That was good. That was a good little episode.
I was going.
man.
I mean, I was going to go.
Little subject.
We'll go. No, okay. We'll go one more. It's a family thing. The whole family thing is, and it's kind of like daddy ball. You know what I'm saying? If should there, I guess it's not going to be righteous versus ratchet. Should there be some type of code of conduct within organizations when it comes to family? Like if your dad, I mean, if you're the head coach, your cousin, your nephew is, should there be some type of I guess an unwritten rules?
I mean, are you trying
within the
to
organization.
imply nepotism, like
Yeah,
everybody? And that's
it
not.
goes on. You know what I'm saying?
there's
It goes on a lot. I mean, to run a good organization, should you think there should be rules in place?
I don't think that there should be rules, and I mean, anybody chime in real quick, but I don't think there should be rules because there are some families that run organizations in Fort Myers, and how they run it or how whoever is the family that's running it, if you don't run it correctly, it's gonna get called out.
Yeah.
So regardless of whatever goes down, I don't think that that's a problem because the family gonna look out for each other. They're gonna work together to make sure the organization runs the way they want it to. Now, if kids start to get, mistreated or you're not getting equipment, and next thing you know, more money has to come out because you got to get jerseys and all that, then that's a problem.
So the question is, should families run organizations? Is that what he's saying?
So should there be some type of unwritten rules, like if
But that's a rule. It's nepotism. It's like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
have.
Yeah, should-
you can't
yeah, should
have.
families
You
run
can't have
organizations
your
and,
brother.
you know,
be the
like, you know,
I don't
every
think that's
brother's
a
the
big
coach,
deal.
and you know, every, you know.
I don't think that's a big
I
deal.
mean, I think every last organization do that. I don't think it's not one that don't do it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think that's. I don't think that's such a big of a deal. I mean, you got some organizations that don't have no family, and they're not getting ran right. So,
you can pretty much tell the ones that's getting ran wrong and they run into the ground thing is going on.
Drew has a little something to say.
Yes, we have a parent that has a question.
All right.
Do you think the refs is an issue when it comes to the games of knowing the coaches?
So what she stated was, do you think it's an issue with referees, officials being buddies and know the coaches personally?
Do y'all want to go?
I think. I mean,
I got something to say about that.
Personally, I think that's loser talk, because it's loser talk. If you're a better team, if you're bigger, stronger, faster than another team, no ref is really going to change the game.
Because what I hear a lot from the coaches is, we're not getting any love out there. They're throwing the flag.
That's an
flag.
anything, baby.
If a kid is running a sweep,
issue.
If a kid is running a sweep and he's blowing by people, it don't matter. I mean, but come on, man. I think. Well, it's human error. It's human error, and I think that to me is loser talk.
No.
You know, it's loser talk when you complain about the refs.
No,
you know,
Johnson, I don't agree with you on that one.
I agree. I mean,
I ain't gonna say that's loser talk, because when you're dealing with a kid that's young and he outright getting cheated, that's an element of the game that affects the game.
We're talking about youth ball.
I know that.
About youth ball.
I know that.
The better team is not losing because of refs.
When they keep saying, "Oh man, why?"
They're not losing
even in
because of
high
refs.
school, because I always
I done
say,
some guys
we
call
gotta
some
travel
blatant
X
bad calls.
to X, and now we got to play the players and we got to play the refs.
You know what? And that, you know what this is. You know what this is. You know why he say that? And I'm gonna call it out. I mean, you can call the heat in the kitchen, but when you go over to Naples,
right,
and you go in certain places in Naples,
I was gonna hit that part.
And when you go up over top North Port Charlotte, you have, and that's been, and I'm gonna tell you why, because and this is not just loser talk, because we win those games. I've beat Northport. I've beat Naples. I don't think I've lost to Naples. So I will tell you that when you go there, there is what we call home cooking in those places. Just like when you go to Miami. It's the same thing. Now, the problem is when we're in Fort Myers, none of that happens for us.
If you go undefeated and you win your division, you should have some home cooking. How about that?
Well, I mean, I understand coming from a guy from Naples that you should have.
Okay, so can I ask you a question?
During the season,
so how we wind up playing the championship down there and we won all them games?
Hey,
right, same thing with
and we played the number 4 seed in Naples.
Talk to the politicians in Fort Myers.
I'm sure you didn't want to hear that though, Johnson.
But listen, I had a personal experience with that this past weekend on the 6U level. And I even told our coach to say
that again, Tim, the 6U level.
On the 6U.
Not 25-year-old.
Listen, we got kids. Listen, we got kids on our team who was just in pull-ups last year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you throwing the flag on the man for holding.
Listen.
Celebrate.
Listen now.
Man.
They 4, 5, and 6 years old, right?
Right.
The hardest kids to coach.
Yeah.
Attention span this big. And when I told the coach, I said, listen, we got to go out there and blow them out in order for us to not even have to worry about what the refs do out there. You get what I'm saying? We out here 4, 5, 6 years old, they throwing flags. Personal foul. Oh, man, they 5 or 6 years old. Hey, they can't slow down like that.
And that's,
you know what? This is for really another subject.
Come on,
and
man.
I hate
when
to
I
really
go
say
home, we ain't never got no flag.
When I go home, I expect to get all the calls.
I'm about to really make this subject sour because this is what it really boils down to. A lot of them organizations don't like urban organizations to succeed because they feel like we just already dominant. I'm going to just be the one to say it.
That too, now.
You know,
because when Riverdale, Wildcats go to Northport, and look at what he even already said before the game was played. We got to do this before the refs.
Yeah.
If the refs wasn't part of the game, That wouldn't even be an element.
You got to blow them out first.
Well, you got to do better job recruiting kids from other parts of the city. Then.
No, I ain't gonna
But
say
you
it
can't.
like
We
that.
can't. Here's the thing. You go and say you can stack teams. That's moving into stacking teams. We shouldn't have to stack teams because a ref wants the home cooking to work. We shouldn't have to do that. But when you go over, and here's the thing, and this is why I do agree with you about the loser talk. Why I do
you can stack teams.
Hold on. I agree with you.
It's
because
small over there.
Because we need to have that toughness. Because that's the one thing about, you can call us soft, but Fort Myers, when we go over to Miami, you know what's going to happen in Dade County. What's going to happen? You're gonna get some calls, or you're going to get some things that are going to happen. You're going to walk down, Liberty City has a thing called the Taunting Tunnel or something. When you walk down the tunnel, these grown men, I want all the moms to hear this. If you ever make it to Miami, you play against Liberty City or anybody like that, you're going to walk through that tunnel. And the grown man going to say any kind of cuss word he can. He gonna look at them. He going to call them all kind of, they soft, and they going to other words that have to do with your hand being bent over. And they going to say all that stuff.
Yeah.
And what you going to do about it? You going to go and tell one of the Miami officials, oh, man, why are they're talking to little Bobby like, guess what? They're going to tell you, you better get out there on the field and play before we give you a flag for that.
But
So
I think
what happens.
One of the biggest situations with that, I don't think that would happen if we had Lee County support when we went out of town.
Exactly.
We don't have enough support
Exactly.
when teams lose around here. They get a little bitter with the teams that are winning instead of supporting the teams that are winning.
That's real.
And we make sure everybody around here, is being supported.
And the crazy thing about that, Drew, we talk about that. The last time
that happened here a lot, man.
The last time
It happened here a lot.
I think the last 2 times we've ever had the tournament here, when Miami had to come here, those are the only times I saw the stands packed, man. We done went to Miami a couple times, and it's only the parents.
It sounds like a systemic problem, man. There's not enough unity in the city.
So let's get on to that real quick. If we got a little time, let's get on to that. What is the problem with the community? And I'm going to start with Wig, and then what's the problem with the community, and how do we address that as a community, man? What do we do?
And we need to start letting some of these organizations come together and do stuff like joint ventures. Because I find with what I see, because, I don't really hang in the streets, but, you hear the barbershop talk. It's the Five Cats this. It's Riverdale that.
We didn't talk
It's
about
the
that.
Cypress that.
Right.
So that brings in the divisiveness in the city, instead of just saying, okay, let's come together and we do something. Or we both going to go chill on y'all as a team. We're going to wear our jersey because we all 239. They don't do that.
He kept saying Miami. Never said Liberty City, like those sections. He just said Miami.
Exactly, because
But
that's
when
what
you
it
talk
is.
about these teams, you talk about the Firecats, you talk about the
They're
Stingrays.
like their own little section.
It just seemed like, there's no unity.
I think Tim West brought a good point up on Facebook with, we should have a community flag football game with all the coaches and make it a free event. Bring out, we have a North-South All-Star game with just strictly coaches and make it a big, huge community event.
Why you trying to promote that, man? My legs bad and everything, man. I can't do that no more.
Listen, we get a lot of trash talk amongst the coaches all the time. So I figure, you want to tell your player to do this and do that. How about you get out there and you show them what you can do then, coach?
Yeah.
Here go another thing with that. And, hey, I'm down for playing a little flag football. I'll be all-time second pass quarterback. But I will say this on that. I think that also starts at the top. I think that the Peace River and the unlimited people at the top, Miami, Richmond Heights, if they got 2 good teams, Richmond Heights and Liberty City, they'll end up playing each other on a Tuesday. Yeah, but you know what? We can't do that.
No, they actually, I think they just did something like that in Cape Coral.
Now Cape
with a few teams.
But
from
Cape,
here they did a little
Cape had a good
bowl game.
I feel it needs to be a North-South All-Star game. We get the kids to come out, coach, make it a big, huge community event where it's a free event. We make the money off the concession, and it all goes to, putting the event on. so nobody feels like, oh, we have to pay for this. But I feel this will bring camaraderie with all organizations. So when, you have Powell Stingrays go play in a championship game in Naples, every team, and I hate to do Collier County like this, but what I seen from Collier County was the Naples Gators and the Golden Gate Titans were rooting for each other. You feel me? What I seen from Lee County was the total opposite.
Right.
When Cypress was, and I hate that it's Collier County, Lee County, but when Cypress was playing Golden Gate, you had the Powell and, and Lee County, they were going against Cypress, you know what I'm saying? And I thought it should have been the opposite.
Yeah.
It's help. I mean, like, when you have those type of things, I think it's healthy. If you look at, like, college football, for instance, they all have relationships. Like, why do you think one of those coaches get fired? Bam, they got another job right away. And I think we should, like, especially in this county, we should take that type of approach. Coaches should be calling each other and saying, you just played this team, like in Port Charlotte. You should be picking up the phone and say, you know what, they got this guy, they run this formation, here's the tape. And I don't think a lot of that stuff goes on. I mean, we need to find a way for the coaches to build relationships.
I can give you
personally, we did.
I can give you a perfect example of that, and I want to give a shout out to him. He makes sleeves. He coached 6U for the Powell Stingrays. His Facebook name is Self-Made. And he called me, was on the phone for like an hour. He was telling me, listen, bro, this is what you got to do against the Titans. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. We were on literally for an hour. This man telling me what he think I should do and what I shouldn't do. But at the same time, a lot goes on Facebook. At the same time, you got teams saying, other coaches and other people saying, oh, I hope they beat y'all and this and that. But when I'm at the game and after our game, I stay and watch other teams play. I can clearly go home. You get what I'm saying? My game is over with. I can clearly go home, but I sit and I stay, and I got friends that coach for the Stingrays as well. So I sit there and I watch them play, like Montonio Moore, a good friend of mine. Jeremy Battle's a good friend of mine. JD, John, they all Stingrays coaches. Right. But at the same time, even put them on blast. I wish they would give me the same support I give them. Right. Gotcha. Nobody came out early enough and watched my game, but the guy who called me and was on the phone with me for an hour. He came there. He made sure he was there.
And I think this is how we're going to break the barriers, man.
Like, got somebody in the audience real quick want to say something.
Go ahead.
Okay, so if you look at our team, when we come in there, we look like nothing. Like, our coaches really prep the boys really good, but they also prep themselves. So they actually call such and such, hey, you played this game. How did you beat them? Because you look at the film that they lost, not the film that they won. So then we call up, like, I have to honestly say, Chris Singleton, he's helped my son so much, and actually calls him before big games and tells him, look, you need to do this or you need to do that. And then actually the coaches call them each other and then say, hey, can you tell me what you saw? So I don't think it's like that in every level. But like I said, I know our coaches, they do reach out to people, and I know some coaches do reach out to the kids that they don't even play for. So, I mean.
That happens, but it's rare.
I'll let Johnson get to his point, but also, I got a point about that, but what were you about to say?
I was going to say, coaches, it's not about you, it's about those kids, man. Break the barriers. It's going to make you're going to build better men. You're going to, build a better community, and everybody is going to be enriched by it. It's not about you, it's about the kids. I wanted to ask you guys a serious question, because you guys are both coaches, and Fort Myers is a fishbowl. Everybody knows each other, all that. How do you guys manage, because you might have one kid's dad that don't like the other kid's dad, or the mom don't like that, and you got all these beefs going on. How do you manage that stuff?
Man, you don't have to manage it. They know better. That stuff, it don't happen like that out there, though.
Yeah.
They hold it in. You know who don't like who. You know who beef with who, but they don't let it out like that. If anybody let it out, it's going to be another kid doing it. You rarely ever see the adults having some out there like that. And if they do, they won't show up at those type of events.
And I'll give another shout out to Naples. When we were in Miami, when I was at the Fort Myers Lions, we were playing against we played against Northwest Boys Club, the Falcons. And I will say, when we came off that, it was 0-0. we came off Naples Canes. They were clapping us up. Let's go get them, Fort Myers and all that. So, I mean, there is some unity. In some spots. I mean, we cheered for the Wildcats when they played against. But I think the separation happens is when it's, let's say, the Firecats, Junior Pee-wees, the Venice Pee-wees. Like when that North goes with us, it's kind of like they in their own little zone.
They still in their own little world.
We in our own little world, so it's like you don't have that camaraderie because we have such a wide. You got to remember, Lee County is a very big landmass compared to the density of Miami too. Yeah, so all those.
Johnson, man, you ain't paying attention to the live feed, man. Printer say, "Where's the 50-cent wings at, man?"
What you mean? Is they free today? Why you gotta be 50 cent? They free.
He say he want to know. Now, this is one of the things that I want to talk about. As coaches, the biggest problem I see in youth sports is a lot of coaches are all cool and dandy and they're rah-rah when they win. But when they lose, they are sore losers. And they don't understand when you're sore losers and you throw temper tantrums and fits and, you know, you allow your kids to do crazy things on the field, that this reflects leadership on down. And it actually you're showing your kids that, you know, in life when you lose, commit suicide.
I want to say something to that, Drew, real quick, and I want to tell and not let everybody else go, but I want to say to James Chaney, me and James Chaney, Coach Larry Cheeseburger, Kelby Tyree, Trey, we was down going back to Northport. We had Seneca Millage. We had a really good team, Austin Bird, all these boys. We went down to Northport. Sin dropped and I'm sorry, I got to call you out, Sin, but I just want to touch on Drew. Sin dropped the wide open pass. We had set it up. We dropped it. We lost to Northport in that game before. Now, we could have let Sin break down. We could have just said, "Oh, Sin, you know, how you dropped that?" But the one thing James told all of us, and we kind of made sure that we had to pick him up and let him know that that's all preparation. And when you can teach a kid after losing preparation, tell them they got another chance. And what we did was we ended up having to play Northport in the playoff game the next week. We spanked Northport in the next, and it was just because they understood that you make a mistake, things happen, and all this negative don't win. Throwing the hat, cussing them out, like, I mean, I done been cussed out before.
That's
I think
real.
all of us been yelled at before.
That's real.
Parents, y'all got to be all right with getting your kid cussed out. But, you know, so that's how I look at it. And Drew made a good point. I think that the negativity with somebody when you lose, that ain't helping them for next week.
No.
You know what I mean? Because you ain't going to win every one. You know, so.
I want to open up, you know, this discussion between the coaches. Name two things, you know, the biggest lesson that you learned from this season and the biggest mistake in the season.
You know, I'll go with that. I think the biggest lesson I learned basically was, you know, being able to keep myself cool in the midst of the moment. You know, like in the championship game this Saturday, I found myself getting a little routed up like I was playing. You know, because at the same time, even though these kids are playing, you know, you got the coaches on the field at that level. You got their coaches and our coaches. And, you know, certain things wasn't going the way I wanted it to go. You know, so I kind of found myself in a verbal battle against those coaches at the same time those kids was out there. You know, I think, and that was my biggest mistake. And these kids look right up at you when they hear you say a certain thing, you know. And then that was one of my biggest lessons, you know, one of my biggest mistakes. But one thing that I also learned, kind of off topic a little bit, is that, you know, you have to really, really take it easy with these kids, man. Listen here, you can break these kids by just yelling at them, you know. And then at this level, all they want is a dollar and some candy. Yeah. You know, you can crank them up with that. You know, the verbal abuse will break them at that age.
Right.
You know?
Man, as far as for my level, I think for me is you got to stay true to being disciplined, because I got the 13, 14 guys. And like we talked about, that's a big, huge growth spurt. And from 8th grade, they're going right into high school. And like I said earlier, I've coached in high school, and I've learned that a lot of these high school coaches hate the Pop Warner because they don't teach the kid.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to be at this level to prepare the 13, 14-year-olds for high school. So I feel like I got to stay true to being disciplined on them. Because like he said, the route that me and Chris took, once again, shout out to Chris Morant, was to try to be brothers to these guys, because a lot of these guys had bad situations at home. A lot of these guys are in these neighborhoods that don't have two parents. A lot of these guys don't eat until probably they come to the field. So they looked at coming to practice in those games like that's with their family. So and the biggest thing I've learned is about just in-game adjustments. I've always was a big in-game adjustment guy. But after that championship game more, I feel like I learned about in-game adjustments.
You know what? That was a mean sales pitch. He's gonna get some. He gonna get some players next year. You know, y'all gonna see Coach Wig with a whole bunch of different players next year.
Hey, man, I talked about this. It's like you got the 14-year-olds in the. I feel like a 50-year-old man when I'm talking to like a 14-year-old because they just
why? Because you ain't got that drip.
I ain't got the drip.
He really ain't got no
sport. I mean,
he ain't got no sport. Ain't no sportiness to him
my
at all.
nephew started laughing at me because I was saying swag.
Yeah, but see, with me, I'm still athletic, and I can get out there and like move with them, so they don't really come at me from that
I want to let y'all
aspect.
know real quick.
I still run with mine too.
One wig will wear every wristband in
There
Sports
he go.
Authority if he could.
There
I just
he
want to
go.
let y'all know.
Hey, well, hey,
We gonna
239 look good,
Yes,
feel
sir.
good,
Hey,
play
what-
good.
You two, like you both play football.
Yeah.
Which guy were you on the football team? Were you the coach's pet, like rah rah? Come on, guys, let's get on. Let's
Don't say that again, Sean.
Let's run another lap. You know what?
That was Johnson.
Who were you?
No, I was more like our team leader. I was more like the Ray Lewis because I gave like the speeches, and I would get the team crunk up before the games and stuff like that. So I would say I was the spark plug.
Yeah.
Okay.
And ever since I played, special teams and all over the field, like make a play, get up and dance. So that kind of stuff changed the momentum in games.
You're Ocho Cinco.
Nah, I'd say prime.
Prime.
Oh wow.
About
Okay,
you?
that was.
I was like
I mean, I
total
played
opposite. I was like the bully on the team, but hey, for real. So I mean, not a bully to my own players. I'm always bully the next team players, and especially I played for North Fort Myers, so majority of the team, is a different race. So when you got them playing with you, and you let them know it's okay to treat him like this and talk to him like that on the field, man, them boys be motivated. So I'm always
So were you the kamikaze on special teams?
and I was all of the above,
Were you the dude
everything,
that was just laying the guy out? On
all
special
of
teams?
that. See, at North, when you get a big hit, they give you a score on your helmet. I had about 20 of them on mine. Every play, I'm going for you.
I wish you had more time because you said you were the Bethune Cookman. I wanted to hear a classic story. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but here go the thing. Hey, me and my homeboy right now. I just want to let know anybody that went to Florida A&M University or want to go to the classic, y'all get ready for this butt whooping coming up in the next weekend. All right.
We had
Wildcat.
Let me ask
we
you
had
guys.
hold on real quick, Johnson. We had a couple people on here commenting saying that, stop. Kim said we can't only put it on the coaches. It starts with the parents.
Parents,
at home, and then the coaches build on it. And then we had another conversation with Jennings. I really disagree with this. She said in order for Lee County to be better and compete with Miami and other programs, we got to get out of the old school football coaching and get up to date with play style and spread out the offense.
Okay, and
I totally disagree with that because
Me
of the
too.
simple
I do
fact
too. That
you
has
got to
nothing to do with
play with what you have.
Yeah.
And a lot of these programs don't have quarterbacks to go, or offensive linemen to hold up on a spread offense.
That's the
The
key.
biggest thing I want to say about that Miami thing again. Miami has an advantage because they're higher
people.
ups. The Peace River.
It's a million.
I mean, they're Miami, Greater Miami. They let their teams play each other during the week. Like Liberty City and Richmond Heights can say Tuesday, hey, let's meet up and let's have a scrimmage on Tuesday. Cape Junior and the Firecats, they won't be allowed to do that during the season.
I know.
Somebody will say something about it.
Because we definitely want to get that Firecat Stingray game.
The best teams don't get to play each other. So it's just what it is, man. You know.
I understand we've been talking some serious stuff. Let's talk some lighthearted stuff. Now, you guys ever find yourself, man? I'm like, we're not. I mean, these kids ain't having any fun. Like,
it's like that all the time.
Do you ever catch yourself? You're like, man, you know what?
Sometimes they want to play the game.
Let me touch on that one. And I told people we didn't have options like these kids did, but we actually did. For me, we had Atari, but I put it down. These kids got so many options now. Practice ain't fun to them because it's in the heat. You got to do drill.
Yeah.
You can't sometimes, and then especially when it's the 2 weeks before, you can't have the football out there. They're all conditioning. Right. Now they rather go home and do the Fortnite stuff, and it's sad because when we played. Well, we love to practice. Because for the players that didn't get in the game, it's your time to get out there and try to show something. But it's a different era.
Take away the 6 plays.
It's a different era.
Take away the 6 plays, I say. I mean, because here go my thing. I remember when I heard about, like, Kelvin and all them saying that they only had 3 plays. It was when you only got 3 plays or 6 plays, whatever. And that was it. What you doing is I'm trying to get my butt on the field.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna sit for 6 play, but these kids all right with it because you know what? Their mom gonna make sure they got Nikes. Their mom gonna make sure their dad gonna make sure they got a sleeve, and they gonna look pretty.
They be out there looking good.
Yeah,
not
they
playing
look good.
Yeah, because Tim West's son be out there.
Listen. I'm gonna tell you something, right? Listen, my son look good every game. My son play linebacker, defensive line, running back, offensive line. If he don't do what he need to do out there, he on the bench.
Yeah.
But he played everything. You get what I'm saying? My son is not the most talented kid on the team, but he's the most well behaved. He's disciplined. He's respectful. He's all the above. Get good grades. Of course, guess what? My son don't know nothing about a video game. Never played one. I got my son all the time. My son don't play no video games. He know sports. He knows school.
And you know what? You pointed on a good thing. You know, it was just joking about the kids being splatted up. And if they're doing the right things in school and they're doing what that's cool. That's great. But on the other hand, rewarding them for just wanting to drink all the Gatorade ain't the way to go. Yeah, the participation award. I think we're in a participation award area, area. And that's what I think it is, man. I'm sorry if I ruffle fellas with that. I feel like everybody get a jersey. Nobody cares about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
It's more of
it's just what it looked like. They go for what it looked like. They ain't really
big
out
shout
there
out to the
grinding.
FBU team
really
over here at the
though.
Soul Bowl, chopping it down. You know what I'm saying? They hitting it up. A lot of them got some big old heads. And some won't close their mouth, but it's all love, baby. All love. Thank y'all for showing some love to the Soul Bowl Cafe. Back to you, Dante.
I think we touched on a lot, and my biggest thing, man, we're kind of wrapping it up. I always ask this question. In your time and era, I know who you going to say, but I want to hear this from Wig also. Let's just say the best high school football player.
You already know. He don't know who I'm going to say.
I already know.
No, he don't. Who you think I'm going to say? Go ahead and say it.
I think you're going to say Fro.
No, Chris Singleton.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
That shocked me. Okay.
All-around player.
All right, Chris Singleton. Go ahead and tell me a little quick bit of why you think Chris Singleton was the best.
One, he was the fastest of his era. He's probably the strongest cornerback I ever seen. He got the Mr. Football Award in 2A, Class 2A, meaning that means you the best player in the whole state of Florida in that class. You get what I'm saying? He had several offers like everybody else. Went off play D1 ball. He was every punt return, kick return, interceptions. He did everything.
All right, so Chris Singleton,
your
little dog behind. I know you over there laughing about it if you're watching this right now. So we're going to go to Wig because I know Wig going to go back and give me something in back in my day. Now besides yourself, Wig, we know what kind of guy you is. Now, besides yourself, you know what I mean? We're going to talk about the best player besides yourself.
Like, God bless the dead, I would like to say Ivy Williams. Because he was a 6'4" running back, Koloff,
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, all right.
And he played basketball as well. He was all area. But I mean, it was so many people back then. It was the era of the running back. I mean, I could say Clyde Allen as well.
All right,
See, I mean, it was 3 running backs back.
Smooth.
It was Frank Morgan, him, Coloff, Baby Jewel. I mean, I could have. It was so many back then. I can't really just say one because
time, man. It was a good time. Sean Pope was back then too.
No, well, I was in the 80s.
He was in the 80s. Okay,
Yeah, he was in the 90s.
Pope. Okay.
Yeah, so you know, like I said, then at the river there, you know, you had the Tyrone Henrys, bro. I mean, I would have to say
digging in the archives.
Like I said, I graduated in the 80s.
I got one from Naples.
Back then, it was number 7 school, so you know, it was a lot of dudes.
Oh boy, you done made somebody day on the whole show.
No, I played with Wayne. I played with Wayne.
Dwayne was nice.
Dwayne was nice.
I like him. I played with Noel for 2 years. I like him and Noel even. You get what I'm saying? I think they similar. He was just bigger than Noel. You get what I'm saying? The things they just did, you just couldn't stop. But I got 2 players that was my favorite players. You get what I'm saying? 2 players I looked up, and one of your co-hosts, Andrew Layden, I told him a couple years back, him and Mike Sturgis.
Is this how you got on the show?
Listen, we grown up. Listen, I'm much younger than Drew, but let me tell you, like, listen, Drew used to come over and give me his highlight film. I used to sit in my house and put the tape in the VCR and watch his highlight tapes from Appalachian State and when he played for Dallas Desperados, right, for the arena team. Yeah. So I knew of him because Mr. West, a guy named Mr. West, used to work out there in the Michigan projects, you know, with the youth, and he used to do a lot of things. So,
Mr. West, the plaque, man.
Listen,
he do
for real. Mr. West used to take us to the Stereo football games, right? But the crazy thing about it, by him taking me to the Stereo game for me to watch Drew them, I ended up looking at them play North and wanted to go play for North because the colors. You get what I'm saying? So I was stuck on North ever since then. But I grew up watching Andrew and Mike Sturgis on Friday night highlights, and I can just right after the game I can go outside and talk to them boys about it. And I was just a little kid, so they motivated me to even play football.
I like that, man. I mean, I mean, everybody has those guys, and I think we had a real good segment today. I just tell Greg Thomas, I watched all your highlights. I had the VHS. This is when we had the VHS, Greg Thomas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would say
high school, man.
I would say Kenny Talbot too. You know, Kenny Talbot was hot.
I want to give a shout out to Alon Samala for putting that work in against the Lightning, 250 yards. Shout out to him.
Hey, it's about to be basketball
Shout out to
season, man.
my old boy C Murder. I was about to say Clifton Robinson. You know, the best. He's probably the best player I've seen. You know, I've seen a lot of players and stuff like that. But me personally, I think
all I'm gonna shout out is Oasis High School basketball, man.
Hey, Drew, how many Lee County schools still in the playoffs? High school.
We have North, we have and Fort Myers. That's it.
That's it.
And Bishop. Yeah. Okay. So we only got 3 Lee County teams. All right. So if you tuned in, share the show, man. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
It was always.
Hey, if y'all got a 13-year-old quarterback who want to go to the next level, inbox me.
If you got any kid that want to win a championship, send them to Cypress.
Hey, you already know. Hey, because everybody know I deal with that West Coast spread. That's what we do.
So once again, thank everybody. Share the show, and I appreciate you all the people in the background. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, we're gonna say big dreams. All right, everybody see it, you know. I gave y'all free food, so y'all should. Jesus, man, stop being your face for a minute. Y'all supposed to listen. We trying to make a promo video. Y'all was bad. Where's your shirt at? Look at your stomach.
I don't see number stomach.
Hey.
No chest, no nothing.
Hey, 1, 2, 3.
Big dreams.
And we out, baby.
That was nice.
That was a good one.
Y'all kept it at 61.
Dreams of being a star. What seeds out of my grasp is now within my reach. Now my foot is now on the gas. I'm passing the competition. Way ahead of my class. You throw it off in the air and I'm taking it off the glass. Clash with anybody standing my path. They say that I can't do it, man, I take it and laugh. The motivation come from the naysayers, and me and you are nothing alike, man, I was made great. I'm just trying to be great. If you don't like it, you can get out my way.